Hi, this is Steve from YourCreativeLife.com, talking today about how to make suggestions, story suggestions in the writer's room without being annoying. This is a great series of recommendations for anybody, whether you're in a writer's room with other writers or you're giving feedback to somebody else in a writer's group. These techniques are really useful. So the first thing to know that's really important to me as a writer in a writer's room working on a script is that we're all writing together, right? So in the same way that if I'm in a writer's group and I'm giving feedback on a piece, it's not my piece. So the truth is, I don't have ownership and I don't need to be strident about my suggestions. So rather than saying it must be done this way, it has to be the only way it makes sense, rather than coming up with any pejoratives and any sort of strident language, we use in the writer's room a series of languaging that actually talks about possibility. So I often say there's a version where this might happen. So that's one term. There's a version where this happens, or we could do this if it's useful, or here's an idea that might work, or there's an option where, and you see how all of those languagings come out of the space of possibility, offering like a menu to the writers you're talking to the showrunner, if that person is in the room, to the other writer, if the piece is not yours. Now, once I do that and I offer it up and I say, this is a possibility to do this, 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 and this, and it might serve your story by that, and that. So I will both outline what the suggestion is and talk about the reasons why the suggestion might work and what it might get us. And those things, that combination of offering a suggestion and offering why the suggestion might work, is a great sort of two-hander to present up to whoever you're talking with, to give them an option to try or not try, again, with the most sincere spirit of detachment, knowing that it's really up to them and not me. Now, if in the course of the conversation, similar things or that same idea seems to be, something that I'm still thinking about down the line that might serve, I might come back, but again, not with any stridency, not with any finger wagging or shaming, but simply with the notion of, well, this kind of dovetails back to the idea I suggested, where this thing that I offered could be useful for these things as well, and then to offer it again. Again, the languaging here is that a possibility, and I often say too, things like, I'm not gonna die on this hill, or this is only a good suggestion if you want it, or, I will let it go after I suggest it this time, if I've suggested it a few times, and then put it out there. So the skill that I'm talking about ultimately is a kind of diplomacy for writers. Again, offering a suggestion in the spirit of possibility, knowing it's not mine to make or give, and there's no insistence that this is the only way to do it, but it is a possibility. The last thing I'll say about this is that I think, especially in writer's room situations, opening my mouth and saying something is really what it's all about. The suggestions can come and go. Hopefully nobody will take it personally, including me, if the suggestion isn't taken, but I'm there in service to offer an idea, and that's really what I'm doing. And so to offer it with that sense that it's not essential is really the name of the game. So I hope these ideas, these suggestions, these thoughts are useful to you as you work in the writer's room yourself and as you suggest things to other writers working on their own pieces. And here's the one other thing that I will say that I certainly speak about anytime I talk about feedback with other writers, is to definitely talk about the praise. I may say, this piece I really love, this part of it really works well, and I love it because of X and Y. And here's a suggestion where you might do this because it might serve that. So to always fold in as much as you can a compliment about the work and a compliment about what you love, so that it stays cordial and energetically helpful. And I know there are writers out there, because I've met them, and you might be one of them, who think that the only good feedback is stern, harsh, punishing feedback with no compliments. I'm not a believer in that. And in my experience, that kind of feedback only gets me stuck and resentful. So I try to always come to the table with something positive, playful, hopeful, and with the spirit of possibility. So I hope you've enjoyed this particular video. Give it a thumbs up. If you did, subscribe to this channel because I make brand new videos every single week about the writing life, specifically with a focus on television writing, which is what I make a living doing. And you can find out a lot more about me, about my coaching, about a newsletter, a podcast, and all sorts of things at yourcreativelife.com, where you can find out information about how I can help you become a better writer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.